Hello, welcome back to my world of stuff. It's time for another brief physical media update. First of all, apologies for no videos in the last week or so. Having had a fairly quiet few weeks at the beginning of the year, last week was a bit sort of demented, and there were lots of things going on, a couple of social things, a bit of work related, extra type things of supporting artists and stuff like that. So yeah, a busy few days. So I haven't really had a chance to sit and record anything. I had a couple of reviews that I wanted to do, particularly one film which I watched on Amazon Prime, which I'll probably do a review of a bit later on. But I thought I'd do a little physical media update because I've got a few new bits and pieces. Not an enormous amount, but a few odds and sods that I bought last week. And I thought I'd do a quick video now rather than the enormous half-hour one I put up last time. So it's the usual mix. It's mainly DVDs, Blu-rays, a couple of books and one collectible. So yeah, how these came about. I got rid of a few bits and pieces at CEX. I had vouchers for about 50 quid. Been to a couple of CEXs, my local one and one in Pontypridd. Not a lot of stuff there, a few bits and pieces I got up. I picked up because they seemed quite interesting. This first one, however, I picked up in a charity shop last week. This was The Raid. This is the Gareth Evans insane action movie, sort of kung fu frenzy, set in a tower block in Jakarta. Non-stop fighting, non-stop action. This was £1, and I thought, yeah, well, I haven't got this. It's a decent quality disc, and I thought I'd just get hold of it and bung it in the collection. It's I've only seen it once, and I probably would watch it again. I mean, the action is nuts, but that's what you expect with these sorts of films. That's quite fun. A couple of CEX pickups then, a few odds and sods I did pick up at CEX. Now, I have just, before recording this, had to take the special universal lighter fluid to these because they had pesky labels that would not tear off properly. They're fairly old titles. I understand that CEX, more recent titles, have more easily removable stickers. These had ones that needed a dab of oil on them. This first one, in fact, needs a little bit more. So yeah, if you're not aware, a little handy tip, if you've got CEX discs where you cannot get off those pesky stickers because they are so, the adhesive they use just tears the label. If you pick up universal lighter fluid from Poundland, it is £1, a little dab on there, leave it a minute or two, and then they will peel off quite easily, I have found, and that's what I found with these three. So the first one I picked up then is a Steelbook, which is quite nice to have. Film I'm not completely nuts about. I will watch it again because I've only seen it once. It's Matt Damon in Neil Blomkamp's Elysium. This is only the disc. I don't know if there was a J card with it originally. There probably was, but this is just the disc in its Steelbook. A nice little Steelbook, as you can see. This is the film set, I can't remember a great deal about it now, set in a future where people live in a city, I think it's set in Johannesburg, city, huge futuristic city, while the people live down below in squalor, and it's all to do with artificial intelligence and machines and robot bodies and stuff. Quite entertaining, but it sort of never really takes off the way you think it will. So the cover is nice illustration of Matt Damon in the sort of robot AI suit that he uses in the film. The back, you've got an illustration of the cityscape, the name on the side, quite nicely picked out there. Inside, there's the usual bump bits and pieces. There's a code, which I'm sure doesn't work, but if anybody wants to try it for a digital copy, be my guest. These will be going in the bin, because I don't think I need them now. The disc itself then, yeah, doesn't look as if it's been played, really. It's in superb condition. Steelbook, I think this was £1.50 in CEX. From my voucher, so yeah, quite pleased to get that hold of that one. Three others from CEX. This one I picked up, this was 50p. I saw this many years ago on one of its TV screenings. This was 50p, and this is Behind the Candelabra, starring again Matt Damon and Michael Douglas. This dates back to 2013. It was a TV movie in America. I think it had cinematic release over here. It's a very interesting drama about Liberace, the flamboyant cabaret sort of piano player who was very popular in the 60s and 70s, famously sort of, well, notoriously, he was gay, and Matt Damon plays his lover, and it's the story of Liberace's life. He was never out, but I think it was fairly obvious to anybody who ever saw him performing that he was gay. And this is the story of him and his sort of life partner, who is played by Matt Damon. It's a good film, very entertaining, quite a tragic sort of end to it. Very well done. And I've noticed there's a little bit of sticky hasn't come off, so I shall apply the oil again in a moment. But it's just 50p in CEX, and I thought, well, it's a good film and one that's worth having. This is one that I've never seen. This is 150, and it came with a slipcover, so slipcover fans will be in a frenzy over this. It's American Sniper with Bradley Cooper and Sienna Miller. So as you can see there, slipcover. And the disc itself, again, it's got the ultraviolet code if anybody wants to give it a go. And the disc itself, yeah, a couple of smudges, but otherwise in pretty good condition. Again, I'm going to chuck that. Yeah, American Sniper. This is a story of Bradley Cooper plays Chris Kyle, and tour of duty with the Navy SEALs, and when he comes home he finds that he can't quite shake off the demands of his job. I hear it's a very good film. Again, I think this was 150, and say nice little slipcover, so nice pickup. This is one I picked up again, I think probably about 150. I saw this several years ago, and I thought at the time it would be the first in a series because it was quite good and it's good condition, and it sort of led the way to suggest further stories, but it hasn't actually happened. I think it's based on a series of kids' books. Came out in 2020, 2019, 2020. I remember seeing this when I was on holiday in Devon, and that would have been about 2019. So the disc may have come out a few months afterwards. Anyway, it's called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. It's a 15 certificate, so it's not incredibly scary, but it's actually quite chilling. I remember seeing this, and there's a very creepy scene in a hospital, corridors of a hospital, with this sort of spooky creature. Quite entertaining little film. Stars nobody particularly well known apart from Dean Norris, who you'll see there, who was in Breaking Bad. A good little film, and it does set up a sequel, which we haven't had. So I know it didn't do incredible box office business, but I think it turned a bit of a profit. Probably not enough for the studio to invest in a sequel, which seems a bit of a shame. Final DVD collection. This is when I was in Cardiff one day last week, on a little social thing, and I picked up at a charity shop. I couldn't resist because it was £1. I don't suppose I'll ever watch them. This is a Daily Mail war movie collection. Now, some of you may remember the days when newspapers, in the early days of DVD, would get the rights to certain old classic films and release series of films. You picked up the newspaper from Tesco's or some supermarket or other, and you get a free film. And they would often then, you would often be able to get a sort of a wallet to save them all in. This is a 15-disc collection of some classic war films. And this was £1, and I couldn't leave it there for £1, even though, as I said, I don't know that I'm going to watch them all. And I wasn't sure if the discs were all going to be there when I got it home, but they were. As you can see, 15 discs of some classic war films. And there are some classics in here. The Dam Busters, I mean, it's one of the most classic war films of all time. Charlotte Gray, Ice Cold, and Alex the Wooden Horse, which is one I particularly remember. First of the Few, the original version of Dunkirk, not Christopher Nolan's. Angels 1-5, Hen of the Pacific, Sort of On Other Way to the Stars, The One That Got Away, Millions Like Us, Sea of Sand, They Who Dare, and The True Glory. A lot of those don't mean anything to me, but some of the early ones are, so you can see the list there. Yeah, so a nice little collection of war films there. I said, I don't know if I'm going to keep it, or it might go onto eBay, but it was £1 and I couldn't just leave it sitting in the shop, so it had to come home with me. A collectible. This is something I won off eBay for about $5.99, I think. As a bit of a Dalek fanatic, I saw this going quite cheap. Nobody else was bidding, so I picked it up. This is one of the original Doctor Who Daleks from the original Doctor Who serial, the Daleks of the Dead Planet from 1963-64. From the Eagle Moss collection, there's lots of these appearing online now. People get rid of their collections or extras and things. And it's the original 1963 Dalek. I think I've got a couple of these. As you will see, I have up there the giant size mega ones that Eagle Moss did. Yeah, just a bit of a fool for Daleks, so I couldn't resist picking that one up off eBay. And then a couple of books just to round things off. I mentioned in my last video, I think, that I bought quite a lot of books for the Christmas period, but I hadn't gotten around to reading any of them. And I've started. I had a problem with the book I was reading, which I've now abandoned. I've got this sort of ADHD thing where if I'm reading a book, I can't go on to another one until I've finished that one. And I was reading this book, which I will not name, which I was just having trouble getting through. Not that it was a difficult read, I just found it hard to engage with it. So I was sort of battling to make headway with it. I've decided to set that aside for the moment. I wanted to go on to something else. And I went out this afternoon. I knew I was having a coffee. And I thought I would take a book with me to crack on with. And I picked out from my Christmas books, Trevor Horn, Adventures in Modern Recording from ABC to ZTT. If you're into music, classic music, you'll know Trevor Horn as one of the most celebrated and gifted record producers of the last 30, 40 years. Produced so many classic hits in the 80s and 90s. Frankie Goes to Hollywood, ABC, Dollar, Grace Jones, Seal, numerous classic tunes by classic artists. And this is his story. It's his life story. His early days, how he got interested in music, and then sort of defining moments musically in his career. I think he selected 25 of his best known songs and has written pieces about how those songs came about and how they were recorded. You've got tracks like Video Killed the Radio Star, The Buggles, of course, which Trevor Horn was a member of back in 1979, which sort of propelled him into sort of success. Mirror Mirror by Dollar from 1981, Poison Arrow, ABC 82, Buffalo Gals, Malcolm McLaren from 82, Yes, Owner of a Lonely Heart, Relax and Two Tries by Frankie, Do They Know It's Christmas by Band-Aid, Slave to the Rhythm, Pet Shop Boys, Paul McCartney, just lots of classic tunes. And as a fan of that era of music, this is going to be a really good read. Read the first 2 chapters already, very readable stuff, and I'm very much looking forward to cracking on with it and reading the stories behind the songs. So that's available now, Trevor Horn, Adventures in Modern Recording. I bought this before Christmas, but I've just started reading it. This is a book I've just bought. This arrived today from Amazon. I was waiting for this at Christmas time, but it was a new release. It was about 25 quid. It's now available for £11.50 from Amazon, so it was a must pick up, I think. And it's Quentin Tarantino's Cinema Speculation. Now, last year I read Quentin Tarantino's first novel, which was his novelisation of his film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. A great read, really terrific reading. He's so passionate in his writing, and he's obviously passionate about cinema. And this is his thoughts on classic movies, defining movies that sort of he grew up on. Not necessarily particularly well-known films, but important films, certainly important films to him. Things like Paradise Alley with, I think, Sylvester McCoy, Sylvester Stallone, and what have we got here? Just lots of famous cult films that define cinema, and I think this is good. I understand from what I've read of reviews, it's written with that sort of enthusiasm that you always get from Quentin Tarantino, whether it's his films or when he's doing interviews about his films. He loves cinema, classic cinema, which is why his films are always sort of steeped in the history of Hollywood. He's very much a director out of time. He doesn't play in the modern sandbox of superheroes and action films. He tells character stories full of atmosphere and incidents, and they're always great films. So this is going to be his dissection of a number of his favourite films. A big, long, chunky book. 350 odd pages. Looking forward to getting stuck into that at some point. Quentin Tarantino's Cinema Speculation. If you're interested in it, as I say, I don't know what it's priced today, but yesterday it was £11.50 and it arrived today. Right, that's my latest few little pickups. I'm hoping to do one of these every 2 or 3 weeks. Depends when I pick things up. Things that come at different times. I have different. I'll pick things up at different places, as it were. And when I've got enough stuff to do another video, I will do another video. So there we go. Right, hope you enjoyed this little rant and rattle through my latest purchases. If you have, like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, share with your friends, and do all that sort of stuff. And I'll see you soon. Until I do, what's that they say? Oh yeah, keep taking the stuff.